And there we go. Rocking and rolling, huh? Andi Jones?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Episode 43 of the Tennessee USA Wrestling Power Hour podcast. I am your state chairman and host, Mike Hatcher. This is my co-host, Andi Jones, head wrestling coach, a girls coach at Blackman High School and Tennessee women's wrestling legend in general. So yeah. That's how I'm going to introduce you from now on. I mean, I listen. I only surround myself with legends. You and Kenya Sloan. I don't listen. I only surround myself with legends. That's it.
Okay, that makes me a little. It's like we all in life sometimes get better at people saying nice things to you. So
There you
thanks,
go.
Mike. I appreciate
Hey,
that. I
no
appreciate you
problem.
saying
No problem. Like I said, I surround myself with great people. That's it. That's
that.
all I do. Because I got to make up for all my faults.
It distracts from my flaws when I keep these people around.
That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, if you're joining live or if you're watching later in on the rerun time, we just breaking down all the newest, latest happenings in Tennessee wrestling, and we had a pretty successful, like the little paragraph at the bottom or whatever notes I was taking said. We had a pretty successful preseason USA Wrestling national tournament. So it was hard to get them all on at one week. So we had to kind of spread them out, space them out, that type of stuff. And that's what we're going to kind of go over. That's where our interviews revolving around today. But I guess last weekend, what'd you do, Andi? I mean, you're in the know here. I mean, I'm done. I'm done with my club season, so I'm not done. But competition wise, being in it a while. So on the girls' side, what went on in the state last weekend?
Well, this weekend we went to the Tullahoma Preseason Tournament. Great day.
Yeah, how was that? Good.
It was good. It's always great when you go to a tournament. It's first of all, it's a great first start. All these preseason tournaments are just a good time for I call my old girls and my new girls now, but my old girls to like shake that off a little bit, and for the new girls like get through that fear in a space where they're bracketed out, by skill set as well. So make it a little bit more of a pleasant experience for some of the starters. But they always put on a great tournament. Dale Bradford was running it, and like it was so smooth.
Say nothing else.
Right? Right. And so it was ran smooth, and yeah, that's all I can say. We had some good matches in there. All of our girls got at least 3 matches in. And on the boys' side, they had quite a few boys there as well. They bumped us down to that auxiliary gym again. So good tournament. I think it was ran really well. I think that's a big thing about the tournament. Of course, individually, my girls did. I liked what I saw from my new girls and my old girls. So just excited for this weekend. We've got the Blackman preseason tournament this weekend.
Blackman preseason tournament this weekend. I think, if I'm not mistaken, last weekend, I think Cleveland had a tournament too. Is that right? Did I see on
social media? Did. I just saw that today. Yeah.
I mean, everybody, as well as we said before, we're not going to be digging up results, for hours and hours and hours a week. If anybody wants to do that now, contribute to our show like that, I'm going to throw that out there. Anybody wants to do all the research and digging up all the results and stuff like that, we'll be happy to read them off.
Yeah. But and it also be posted on the social of it too, for that visual.
But I think Cleveland had one. I'm assuming because they do a great job around turn. I know that Nolensville had one last weekend because I'll be honest with you, and I was very, very open with my club when I said this. I will not be at any tournament last weekend. It's just not happening because I hadn't been in Nashville. Yes, I hadn't been. Well, I hadn't been in Nashville for a weekend, probably like a month and a half to 2 months, and it wasn't like I was in Thailand this time. I was like going all over the place and just different stuff, and I needed a weekend to get all my spring and summer clothes out of my closet, get them to my storage, bring my fall and winter stuff in. I need to get all that stuff here. And plus I had a nice couch that I wanted to lay on and not do anything. so I could have went down to Nolensville. One of my assistants, Scott Shipman, said, "Hey, there's like 80% of the Young Guns kids are down here." I said, I realize that. I know that. I may go, and I probably won't go because I need a break. You know what happened? You know what broke me? What broke me was the trip back from Kansas City. Not that I love the kids that I went with, love the drivers. Shout out to Joe Miller, Brandon Waymeyer, and Adam Nielsen. All helped me drive. but I'm not a driver. I hate driving. I don't even like driving to Atlanta. I usually fly from Nashville to Atlanta, back to Atlanta. And we had to drive all the way up to Kansas City, got back really super late. And you know what? I need some time off.
That's a long drive. I've just from
super long for me.
Going to college in Missouri Valley, which is roughly like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Kansas City.
Yeah.
That drive doesn't bother me that much, but I'm with you on Atlanta.
Yep.
Like I will avoid it like the plague.
Long story short, I know Nolensville had a preseason. I know they did a great job with it. Like I said, all the people that I know, all my club kids that went. Actually, there was some really good matches in there. There was. I mean, a lot of my kids that wrestle for Young Guns. I know Alex Barton. He's Nolensville. State place winner from last year. He beat Reed Lawful, who's Brentwood, 2-time state medalist. I know those two wrestle. They both go to my club, so I see them wrestle like every week. So it's like I don't really need. I don't need to go. I don't really see this, but yeah. But I know that was one highlight. And I know. Who else did I ask? Who else said that they wrestled somebody? Cruz Pryor, Nolensville. I know he wrestled Jeffrey Ferris, who's going to be good. He's from Brentwood, so. Those two matches I know happened. Other than that, I don't know what happened. Like a lot of the kids that went to our P&L tournament didn't wrestle in that tournament though. So they took it off too. They took the weekend off. I took the weekend off.
I think it's okay to rest, and we teach our athletes to do that.
Especially the ones that had wrestled a lot in the preseason. There's so many preseason tournaments. Super 32, preseason nationals we're getting into, all that stuff. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. We obviously it wasn't always this way, so I think it's really neat to see a variety of preseason tournaments, right? Yeah. Coming in like that. And now we have more Tennessee kids doing the national opportunity stuff, right? And so we're doing really good. I was excited. I just saw today that Cleveland had a tournament this weekend, but I didn't know about the Nolensville one. So, maybe we can make a board for everybody to post their events too.
Yeah. We could probably do that. We could probably do something like that. But let's do this nice and easy transition, considering that you brought up these national preseason tournaments.
Yes.
Get our final preseason USA Wrestling preseason national guest on here. And then this will be our final. We've literally had like a three week recap on this tournament. But it's good though. We've done good. So let's bring this guy in right now. And this is our one and only guest this weekend or this week. But look at this guest though. I mean, if you're gonna have one guest on for the show and one guest only, this is the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know him. Everybody knows him. Hudson Chittum, Hudson Ace Chittum. There he is. What's going on, boy?
Nothing much.
How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You get like bigger and like more mature and like you're growing up on me, young man. You're growing up.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, you cracked that you cracked that 100 pounds, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Consistently now?
Consistently, yeah.
Look out. I tell you what, watch out, world. Watch out, because I tell you what, once this dude starts getting over 100, Andy, it's not good for the neighborhood. I mean, when he was below 100, then some of these guys can get their licks in on him, but no more.
It's going to be like they see your name on the bracket and they're like,
oh, man, was hoping that kid would stay down at 84.
Emotionally.
Well, I mean, if those of you that do not know Hudson Chittum, I'm not sure which rock you've been under, but I'm going to pull you up from underneath that rock. We're talking 2-time Fargo finalist. We're talking 4-time Fargo All-American. We're talking 3-time Tulsa Nationals runner-up, 2-time Tulsa kickoff champ, and newly crowned USA Wrestling preseason national champ. There you go. All wrapped up into only a 9th grader.
Yep.
Boy, tell you what, when we started, and one of our OGs of our podcast here, like one of my very, very, very first guests way back in the day when I was doing this myself, Andy.
I want to see pictures. I want to do the side by.
You know, it's funny when I had Hudson on the first time. His Uncle Shane was like telling because I was like, hey, I want to have Ace on there. Is it Ace? Is it Hudson? He goes, either one, just whatever. He said, but
real name, it's like a Oh, okay.
Well, that's whatever do you want to call him?
They knew ahead of time.
He said, "I'll tell you right now, you guys' podcast could last forever because this little dude, he's only like what were you like in 6th grade or something? Yeah,
7th, I think, when I first went on.
He said that little dude can talk forever. He said, just wait, he's got a personality on him. Sure enough, boy, I got to go back to the old podcast because it was I'd never thought I would have that long a discussion with like a little 6th or 7th grader. But yeah, no, I mean, not only do I love have him on the podcast, but love seeing him in person. Just not only one of our stud wrestlers here in Tennessee, but just I mean, amazing young man without question. So Andi, there you go. There's the intro to my boy Hudson.
I like it. I like this opportunity because on the being a women's coach now, like I still get to watch some of the men's stuff, but I don't get to catch it all. So it's always fun. I'm really enjoying this with Mike, meeting new people and learning more about you. And I get to ask the stupid questions that some other people wanted somebody to ask because they didn't quite know that. And so,
but the thing is, Hudson, for those like very, very few people that don't know you, so now she's going to ask those questions for them. Because that way, there we go. See, not everybody like me has had the pleasure of being around you.
Yes, it all works out.
Andy, I'm gonna let you fire away first and foremost. Give this young man first question, and like I said, we'll see how impressed you are.
Okay, Hudson. When I heard through like a rumor mill on a phone call I had just before we hopped on here, that you have some siblings that wrestle too, or had a sibling that also is older than you. And
he's in college now. It's Cody Chittum. He wrestles at Iowa State.
Never heard of him. He doing good?
I don't know.
He's decent. He's not bad.
All right. He's all
right. So obviously you were introduced at a young age to wrestling. And I'm not sure if did your father wrestle, possibly mother, but
both my dad and Cody's dad both wrestled when they were in high school.
Okay. And so how old were you when you started wrestling?
I was 9 years old.
All right. Yeah. That's awesome. So through this, so now you're going into your 9th grade year. Have you set, I don't want to go into too hard of questioning on you here, but as far as this year, have you thought about what your goals are for your season? Just with the state level?
Definitely state champ for sure. I mean, nothing less, I would say. Probably only set my goals for the highest, right?
Yeah. What do you feel like helps you train? Because you've had a lot of success already. What do you feel like helps you train? What's the most helpful piece of how you train and get your mind ready for this?
Really just dialing it in. Like last week before competition, really dialing in skills and getting everything ready, food down, weight down, and just feeling ready to go before competition.
So you're getting your mind right ahead of time?
Yep.
I like that. And where are you currently training at the moment?
Right now I train with Cleveland High School, and then I also train down in Chattanooga with Sean Russell at the Minion Training Center.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Wow, you're like everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Well, Hudson is one of the original Boom Ranch kids.
Yep.
If anybody, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, I don't even say if anybody knows. Everybody knows about the Boom Ranch. What was going on there? I mean, they literally have like a team of 6, and they go and all 6 would win national championships. It was like Shane would coach them, get them all organized, all that stuff. I think they're all staying there. I don't know. They homeschool everything. They're living out the Boom Ranch and just wrestling. Yeah. And but very successful model because I mean, like I said, the kids that were coming out of the Boom Ranch are not only were but are very, 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 very talented and just I mean, yeah, just absolute hammers. So now I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hudson, but now Sean basically has the majority of those training down there at the Minions.
Yeah, he has a lot of kids, a bunch of Macaulay kids, Baylor kids from all around Cleveland. He has kids from everywhere coming in.
Yeah. Minions, they're doing a good job there. And Sean's, he's crushing it. And like I said, a lot of high level kids in that area go down there and training consistently. Yeah. So
I was ignorant of the Boom Ranch. In my defense, though, I've been out of state and
okay. All right. We'll let it slide, Andi. We'll let it slide.
I know the women's history stuff.
It's too bad there's a more Boom Ranch now. I leaned on Shane for I don't know how many years. Hudson. All I wanted is a Boom Ranch wrestling T-shirt. That's all I wanted. Never even got one. I'm like, come on,
man. You asked. I bet you get one.
I asked plenty of times. I asked him plenty of times. It never came through for me. Your dad asked me to come in and check out, when they test the boats and stuff like that. And,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I know. That's like really cool. But all I wanted was a T-shirt. That's all I wanted. I mean, I got invited to see all these yachts and like high-end bass boats driving around and seeing all this stuff and like inside access stuff. And all I wanted was Boom Ranch T-shirt.
Hudson, Christmas is coming. Would y'all make him a shirt?
I think we have to.
You can hand paint it at this point.
Yep.
It's gonna go back.
I'll get a white T-shirt and
we got a gear closet.
My riding is Boom Ranch.
There you go.
There we go. His little heart song is
Well, listen, man, we got you on here because a couple weeks ago, like I said, and hats off to our Tennessee guys. I mean, normally, Hudson, normally, a lot of times you're like the only one that does like really, really well and places really high in these tournaments,
Yeah, everybody from Tennessee did pretty good.
Dude, it was awesome, huh? We had 3 national champs. We had Easton Daddy Moff on the girls' side. We had Peter Savarino on the boys' side, the showcase, and we had you, the 9 and 10th grade boys 100-pound bracket. I pulled this bracket up, and I honestly, when I pulled this thing up, I was like, okay, he might have been in a bracket with a 32-man bracket. Dude, this thing was huge.
It was way bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I was floored. So I started going through the results here, and I'll tell you what, man, this was not a walk in the park for you whatsoever, was it?
No, not as much as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Right off the shoot, first round, you had a kid from Central Indiana Academy. What's his name here? St. Laurent. Man, he had like a high-end fashion guy.
I know. I was like,
for those of you guys that know fashion, first round, 1-0 decision. Right out the gate, huh?
Yeah, that was not my best match. I'm gonna be honest.
But still
not ready for that.
but to come to have a 1-0 match with you at 100 pounds, the first round, whether you're on your game or not, I'm telling you what, that kid had to be at least pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty tough.
Yeah. So kind of walk us through, as you went through the tournament, you had a pretty decent matchup, and then you got a pin after that. But then it was like 10-6, 9-3, 7-4. And then in the finals, a 1-0 decision. Kind of walk us through the tournament and just kind of how the competition stacked up. Obviously, you've already said it a little bit tougher than what you thought, and how you adjusted, and kind of just tell us a little bit about the tournament.
Yeah, no. So that first match, I came out and everybody's expecting a first round easy win. First round kid, you're going to win pretty easy.
Yeah.
It was not the case. I was not ready to go. I was not really that warmed or mentally prepared to go to war for that first match.
Mm-hmm.
I went out there. I was super stiff, super cold, wasn't ready to go, and just couldn't get to any of my offense, and then ended up just getting away on bottom. And third period, I think it was, I rode him out in the third period to win 1-0. And then after that, it was I was ready to go. After that, I was making sure I was warm, mentally ready to go every match. And then that second match, I went out there and just pinned the kid, and it was, I was back. Yeah. And then that third match was that last match of my day. And I'm be honest, I was pretty nervous because seeing the kid, and he looked big from what I had seen. He walked out, he had way more muscle than me, so I was not but yeah, I went out, and I got exhausted that match, just wrestling hard through every position. You go back and you watch it, I think it took me a minute and a half to get my first score, but the whole time, I was moving, working, and putting a pace on that kid. So
yeah, nice. So how about the second day?
The second day, I definitely came a little bit more prepared. I'd warmed up with Sean Russell, and we'd done a match before the tournament even started. So all my nerves were gone. Mm-hmm. And I ended up beating the kid that actually beat me in the Greco finals.
That's what I was just about ready to say. I was just about ready to say that was the one that was the match I was going to kind of, I guess, I don't know, highlight, but that had to be a nice little win for you, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's Izzy Silva's son.
Yeah,
it's Izzy Silva's son. I know Izzy really well.
Yeah, especially getting a win, like a revenge win, is probably the best feeling.
Yeah, because you got you in the Fargo Greco finals. I remember that.
Yep.
Because I remember talking to his dad at Fargo, and he goes, "Yeah, I think we're gonna have Chittum, probably most like the Chittum in the finals." And I was, back in my mind, I'm like, Yeah, well, good luck with that one. You know, Hudson's pretty tough. And he ended up getting you. I was like, dang, all right, this must be better than I thought. But that's good. But it had to feel good, huh? What did you get? It felt like you got to your offense pretty well there. And
I want to say probably like a minute in, I had got like a nasty dump and just rode him out for the last minute, which was awesome. And then on top, I just felt awesome. Like everything was flowing, everything was working. I think I got a suck back. I almost pinned him. I mean, if the ref was in the right spot, he was definitely pinned. But I mean, everybody says that, but I think it was super true. So, but yeah, I got sucked back in like the second period on top, and then I went bottom and got away pretty easy. And then after that, it was a wrap. So,
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, after that, then that probably had to give you a world of confidence and probably feeling real good about yourself for the rest of the tournament. Then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the finals match though was pretty tight. Looked like, huh? 1-0 decision. The finals. You ever wrestled that kid?
Was tight.
Yeah. You ever wrestled that kid before?
I don't think I have. I mean, his name looked familiar, but I don't think I've ever wrestled him. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
Well, you're because you're kind of getting now to where you're starting to put some weight on. And this was kind of where I was going to kind of go with the next questioning. You're starting to put some weight on now, so you're almost really kind of getting into a new set of names now, aren't you? And with the new kids, as far as maybe you saw them before, but they were always a little bit bigger than you. But now you're in the same weight class, and obviously, I'm sure that you probably, I don't know if there would have been a weight class below like 94 or whatever, you probably could have made that, but I don't know. But now you're starting to get into another, like I said, more mature kids, like you had mentioned before, bigger kids, stronger kids right now. What kind of adjustments have you had to make since you starting to kind of find this new batch of kids you got your eyes on?
I mean, honestly, just studying and learning wrestling more, just knowing what to do from different positions, when to do it, what feel to have. And then, also just before a match, just seeing what that kid does and then knowing what his flaws are, going out there. And then just honestly, what had helped me that tournament was not worrying about what that kid was going to do to me, but what I was going to do to that kid. So the whole time I had Sean Russell out there with me, and before every match, he was, put your pace on this kid. If you do that, he will break. And I mean, that helped me the whole tournament. So.
Yeah,
that's great advice right there.
I agree. That's what I was just thinking.
that's gold right there for any kid that's that's looking at getting on this national level and being competitive, and not only competitive but being one of the best on this national level. That's great advice right there for sure. So, Andy, you got to have another question for this guy, huh?
No, I'm digesting. No, I think I'm just digesting that you're a freshman in high school and that you already gather a lot of things that even some collegiate athletes and Olympic people, like there's things that people struggle with. And it sounds like you're doing an amazing job of doing the math, right? Checking out your opponent ahead of time, figuring out what you need to work on for yourself for that. But I like the idea of also mainly focusing on what you're going to do in that match. Sounds like, have you worked with a sports psychologist at all, or?
No, I have not. No.
That's Uncle Shane, right?
Yeah, he's
Suck it up. Get cover.
They don't have to have gone to school for that.
Shout out to Shane. He knows I love him. Is that basically Shane's sports psychology right there?
Yeah, that's his philosophy: is do it or you suck.
Oh, no, everyone has their best. I'm going to try that with my girls today.
Yeah, that's advice right there from Hudson Shane Chittum right there.
I'm going to tell them that Hudson told me it's fine. But no, it's really exciting. All of the work that you're putting in. I love the dynamic of how you're working the mental side of it, especially as a freshman coming in. And just a young person in general, like you describing your first match and how you reset from that. What is on the mental side? I want to hear a little bit more about how you prepare yourself for your matches. Like, what do you do right beforehand as you're warming up? Like you're in the building, you've weighed in. Where does Hudson go next here?
After that, after I weigh in, it's feeling good, and then not worrying about anything that night, like just making sure I get good rest and feel ready to go in the morning. And then for that warm up, it's making sure I feel warm. Everything feels loose. Everything feels nice and sharp and clean and like perfect when I'm doing it in my warm up. And then pre-match, I would just say it's mostly focusing on getting my nerves out. So doing a few sprints, getting ready mentally, listening to music, anything, just to get those nerves out of my system and getting ready to go.
So what do you do? Have you ever had a time where you were going into a tournament and for some reason, like in your warm up, like you said, you didn't get that check mark on your warm up of, okay, I feel good about all of this, or even for going into that first match, because everybody gets a little antsy at their first match most of the time, unless you kind of know who you're wrestling, it's not going to be a hard one, but sometimes those surprise you. But what do you do to reset and move forward? Because I know you say that you try to keep that out of your mind. How do you keep the little devil of doubt and all the negative stuff? How do you go like that, right?
I would say mostly it's just, everybody says it, but it's just learning to have fun with what you're doing. Like when I'm with Sean and all those guys that traveled up there to go to preseason, all we were doing the whole time was we were wrestling. And then right after that, we were having a good time listening to music, going out to eat, walking around town, seeing if there's anything we could do. It's mostly just keeping wrestling. You want to keep wrestling in your mind, but you don't want to keep it in your mind 24/7 because then you're worried about everything.
You can overwork that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's good. I think that a lot of young people, young wrestlers your age can benefit from hearing about this, right? And how it's okay to take your brain away from it, because you pretty much, you've done everything you can do to prepare yourself before you got there, most likely, or you should have. And so it's okay to give that brain a little moment and keep that intensity down. So I like that you're doing that. It seems to be working very well for you.
You know what? Knowing Hudson though, that whatever, whoever it is on his shoulder that's saying whatever. Yeah, I bet Hudson. Get out here. Get away from me. It's that simple, that kid.
I'm under sticky though, Mike.
Get away from me. Get out my shoulder, boy. So I would bet that's how he rolls right there. Yeah. So this is a good segue into what my last question is for you, bud, because obviously, with you being, one of the OGs from Boom Ranch, and now you're at Minion, you guys, it's wrestling. It's just that everybody thinks that. I shouldn't say that everybody thinks, but there is an assumption out there that, man, all those kids do is wrestle. It's all they do is just wrestle. And I tell them, I said, no. Listen, I know these kids. There's a whole other aspect of them and their personalities and everything that's so not even related to wrestling. What are some things that you like to do just totally outside of wrestling?
Oh, totally outside of wrestling. Every teenage boy is probably going to say this, but play video games.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Yeah. What's your game?
My game, I don't know. I'm not really great at any games. I'm more like okay at every game, as Cody would say.
Which one do you like though?
Probably like Minecraft. I don't know. I like Overwatch. Those are pretty fun in my idea.
I ain't heard anyone.
I know what Minecraft is.
I'll give the days of Galaga and Miss Pac-Man.
No, there's more. They don't just pop. It's very graphic. You can see everything. Yeah.
So video games. That's one. What else you got? Like I said,
shoot. In the summer.
Yeah.
In the summer, I love hanging out by the pool. That's super fun. Jumping off the diving board, doing all that stuff, playing sharks and minnows, all that stuff in the pool is so fun. Yeah.
Love it. How about hunting, fishing? Do you do that stuff too? You guys live out there in the ranch.
Yeah. I hunt. I'm not very good at hunting.
Yeah.
Or fishing, but I still enjoy it.
So. Well, you don't have to be like, so I feel like in life, we're only given so many things that we can be like amazing at. So
yeah.
You got wrestling. That's really awesome.
Tell you what, from what I understand, if you want to get to be a good hunter, Zizi is the one that's going to teach you. I heard she's like legit now. She's like all in, from what I hear. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, she's really good at hunting. She knows like where the DR every time, where to sit, where to I don't know. She knows what wind the what way the wind is coming from. I don't know. She's so good. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard like that's like her new thing now. She's like all 100% in.
Oh yeah.
She's like that's like your wrestling. You and Cody's wrestling. She's like hunting. Huh?
Yeah, she loves hunting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because I know that.
And who is this?
Sergil took me last year, my first time ever, and I missed this like really, really big one. That my very first shot, I missed this like huge deer. But I was getting warmed up. Come on, man. Get warmed up. I'll go back and get him later this year. But I Sergil told Shane, he's like, man, I'm gonna tell it's easy. She's gonna make fun of him. So I think she made some comment. Well, no, tell him not to worry. I'll get it for him.
Who's the lady you are speaking about?
This would be your cousin.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. It's Cody's sister.
Cody's sister.
Okay. So y'all just are really good at dialing in on things and championing it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't play with these people.
Nope.
I tell you what, when they do something, they do it all in.
I like it.
They are all in. So it's awesome. It's good stuff. Andy, you got any other questions for a man here?
I was trying to think of something funny to ask just then when you said that, like something ludicrous, like what's your favorite color? But no, I just think I want to wish you even more success. It makes me, I say this every time we talk to these young people, like I am so impressed with our Tennessee level of wrestling, how it's moving up nationally and on the world level as well. And so kudos to you for putting in the work and showing some other people what can happen if you put that work in. So
thank you.
That's it right there. Great words. We're gonna let you go after that one, Hudson.
Sounds good.
My man, thanks so much for your time. We know you're a busy man, and we always appreciate it, though. But I can't wait to see you again, buddy.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Congrats to that title.
Nice meeting you.
All right, see you, buddy.
You too. See ya.
Yeah, that dude's awesome.
So cute.
Wait till you meet him in person. He's even like, I mean, he's a great kid.
He is.
I tell you what, if you haven't seen him wrestle, I mean, just wait till you see him wrestle.
I'm gonna Google now.
Oh, he's an animal. He used to be so small. I mean, because he was like last year. I think he was at Fargo. I think at 84, 88, whatever. I mean, 90. I don't know what it was, but that's now funny. But obviously for high school, he has to get his weight up.
Yeah.
And that's always the thing. If he wasn't so small, he'd like literally just steamroll everybody. I mean, but wait till now he's getting bigger. He's starting to get puberty. I mean, he's growing up now, and that's not good for everybody else because he is legit. He is.
Well, and his little brain's right too. As far as like the structure of, I really enjoy. I've been really impressed with doing the podcast with you. These young people, and he is no exception, or he's very similar in this. Is that like how far ahead they are at this point on the mental aspect of how to, because a lot of young people, like he's talking about his first match at Preseason Nationals, how he kind of thought it was going to be whatever, but then he got in there and it wasn't. And that can be a detrimental moment for your tournament too, right? But he worked through it, and I do like the phrasing of like outpacing people.
Yeah.
Because that's a very good wording for it. Because that's so much of what it is, right? Absolutely. You just keep wearing away at them until they break, right?
Yeah. And it also takes like kids like him that have been wrestling on like literally on the national level forever. I mean, he started wrestling at 9. Yeah. So I mean, he probably has been wrestling at the high national level since 10, 11. I mean, because he's very, 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 very skilled and talented, and he picks things up. He's a sponge. I mean, Shane, this is what Shane has told me in the past, and same thing with Sean, all his coaches, that he's a sponge. He picks it up really, really well. And when you start wrestling at that level, that high level for so long, even if you're having a bad match in that first match, I mean, you're still accustomed, like, listen, I'm just going to get it done. And I'm going to win. That's what I do. I mean, and that's the one step that where kids are looking to go from good to great. I mean, that's the one that they continually miss, just because probably not that they don't want to dig deep in those matches. It's just, they don't quite know how to yet, because they're just not, they're not accustomed to being in those situations in those big tournaments, whereas he's been wrestling big tournaments ever since he's probably been 10, 11 years old.
So it's not as big of a show.
Big deal. I mean, and that's why a lot of parents, a lot of coaches are like, we don't want to burn them out. I don't want to burn them out, and I get that, 100% get that. But he's another example, and we're getting more and more examples of like this over and over as year after year after year, just as the sport just continues to grow and grow, that I think that I think the risk of burnout, in my opinion, when you start wrestling them at these national level tournaments, I think it's going down a lot. And I have a couple theories behind this. One is just because it's what kids do now. We have so many good clubs out there, and so many like the really, really good college wrestlers and the guys that are credentials. They're not going into coaching college anymore. They're definitely not going back in and coaching high school anymore, because it just doesn't pay. They don't want to be a teacher. They're going and they start in a club. So now they're providing these kids with these opportunities, not only these opportunities, but a passion for the sport that I think that's lasting a lot longer now. And two, these kids, if they start like at age 8, 9, and 10 with the rest of these national scale events, they actually have heroes to look up to now that are very, very accessible to them. I mean, like Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, Kyle Dake, all these Kyle Snap, they're very accessible because all they got to do is pick their phone up and watch them. And like, you know what? I want to be like that guy. Whereas I remember when I was wrestling, I was 10 years old.
Internet.
Like,
internet,
these were just when they were just like figments of my imagination. I don't even remember, like, I mean, let me see. So I was born in 72. Let's say, for example, I started when I was 6, or I was 5. And so I would have been 77. So let's just say 1980. That's even like 1980. I mean, that would have been, 84 was like Randy Lewis's gold medal year and all the Iowa guys' gold medal year. And I was just lucky to grow up in Iowa. But if I would grow up in Iowa, they'd be like, these guys were like figments of my imagination, because I'd have to watch them like a week later on highlights on NBC.
Catch a little bit of it.
Maybe catch like one period of the match. Whereas now these guys can literally watch these guys, and they have these huge icons of the sport to look up to. And it's so accessible. There's so many more camps going on with it. There's so many, like, they can get in person. It's a different game now.
The internet has made it so accessible for young people. Just think about the access to just finding the tournaments, period, and knowing what tournaments are out there.
The results.
Do what?
The results.
Right, and the results.
Techniques, everything.
I joke around about it, but whenever I was in high school wrestling, which is a very long time ago, and there was no interweb yet, when I went to Missouri Valley and took that scholarship up there, I didn't know there was other opportunities for women's wrestling at the time, because I was in Tennessee, and Tennessee's wrestling has grown vastly since then. Yeah. And I didn't, it's embarrassing to say at this moment, but I didn't know who people like Trisha Saunders were, or Stephanie Murata, or all of them. Anyways, and then you learned, but I had a good coach that taught us the history of it all. But it's just amazing, the access, the ability to find clubs to go to, I love it for them. And I can't wait to see it just keep going.
Well, this is what we're pumping out now. Kids like that, that are going in as a freshman and just that are
solid here.
That know so much more about, they know so much more about wrestling than I even knew going out of high school my senior year.
Yeah.
As far as like weight management and prep and mental preparation and just, it's crazy how so far ahead they are. And it's going to be crazy what happens in the next 5 years. Because the kids just keep getting better and better and better. We wonder why we see these high school kids that are literally competing with our Olympians right now. It's crazy.
Right. Well, and I think I am a big fan of psychology in general, but sports psychology, even if it's not, I know we joked around about it when I asked him that, but I think even just access online to learning things like that. And if someone just gets a little takeaway from it, even from just another coach doing something a certain way, I think we're getting more into that game as well. And like you said, we know now exposure to those big tournaments over and over again. It's no longer the big show when you get there. This is another tournament. So
you hit on something really, really, really important there. I think for people is that the whole sports psychology. I would say the sports psychology and the weight management portion of weight. I guess you can kind of categorize it into one as far as weight management and nutrition. Those two, weight management, nutrition, and sports psychology, those two things right there. Yeah. It's almost like it's not a stock that's already blown up and you can't get in on.
Right.
but it's been around it has some value.
Yep.
Pretty soon it's just going to be what everybody does and everybody has it, whereas
Yeah.
right now you're still in that early space to where, what, I can get an advantage on some of the teams around here because they don't utilize these two things. They don't know how to manage their weight, how to nutritionally take care of that. And from a sports psychology side, they don't do that type of stuff, but pretty soon here, 5-10 years down the road, honestly, you're probably going to see very, very, very few competitive high school programs that don't significantly incorporate that in their programs.
Oh yeah. I was fortunate to work at Missouri Valley with a sports psychologist, or psychiatrist rather, BZ Hendricks. I don't know if you remember him at all. He was around, older guy. And so much of it translates to life, obviously, but like the little bit or what I can gain from that and learn more, I bring that into my girls. What I really want to see is more access to, I think people are always hesitant to put specific nutrition stuff out, right? But I would like to see a better access to knowledge for the athletes that isn't so overwhelming, like not so detailed as much, but maybe a small breakdown initially, and then we go in. Mm-hmm. Of course, we already work those individually. I'm an exercise physio, so that's what I do.
Well, I think from that perspective, I think that the parameters that are put in place right now from a weight management and weight descent standpoint, from like the ones that are required for high school kids, I think they're very, very good. The protocols are very, very good.
Oh yeah, the protocols are great.
But I think that there's a whole other level to it as far as like, okay, that's just like the making weight part of it. There's a whole performance-based part of it.
Yeah.
Where kids don't, okay, well, I can weigh such and such by such and such date. So I'll go ahead and stay here, and then I'll get down there, and then I'll whatever with the hydrate. There's still different ways where they can pay attention to it, and they can do it as directed, I guess, as you can say from the descent plans, but there's still like another level to it, and then from a nutritional standpoint, it's just like, there's so many different theories on what's good nutritionally, what's bad nutritionally, what's a good way to diet, whatever that type of stuff is. Whereas I just think, you gotta, as long as it's healthy, whole food, I think you gotta, you gotta figure out your own.
Yeah.
I do this. We literally just got done with this talk the week before last with my Young Guns group. And that's what I mean, I can't, I've got 40 kids that are sitting in this classroom, and what am I going to do? Prescribe the same diet to all of them? I mean, this kid may not like chicken, he may not like beef, he may not like tuna. I mean, I don't know what he wants. Figure it out yourself. But I do know one thing is that the wrestlers are very, very, very habitual. And once they find their sweet spot, once they find their breakfast, their snacks, their lunch, their dinners, it usually looks about the same. I mean, the successful ones, it looks very, very, very similar every day of the week throughout the whole wrestling season.
And I want to see more. I just want to see more of the healthy weight cutting. Yeah. That's what I want to see. Just because on a performance level, like you're saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? Yeah. Like you can make a calorie deficit, but what are you eating?
Yeah.
What are the calories? Are they empty stuff? Are you getting some good nutrients in there, protein, all these things that you need, hydrating? And I just want the kids to understand. I want more base knowledge of, okay, for instance, lifestyle changes, cutting out sodas, cutting out a lot of sugar, that kind of stuff. Easy approach, but and it's getting there. I just want to see it even more.
You know what? Call me crazy, but I think that we might have a topic for maybe our next podcast.
We could bring who can we find?
I've got some really good people that are in that space.
I'm here for that.
Yeah,
I think that's super helpful.
I've got some really, really good people. I've got, and then also the whole, the sports psych type of stuff. I got some people with that as well. So maybe that's we've got one guest locked in for next week already. Another preseason, or actually no, he's more than just preseason nationals. He's had a really good preseason in general. We got him coming in next week. We'll get somebody on the girls' side, so maybe we'll table this for the following week.
Yeah.
And,
I think it would be really beneficial to our viewers. Yeah, because I think how do I say this? So I think whenever you get to an elite level and you're with a club that like you, who puts people in a classroom to talk about this. I do that with my girls, and we work really hard to bring in those aspects. Yeah. But I know that not every coach knows to do it, and I think we could help some people is what I'm saying.
Well, plus I think that it's crazy because, and this will be my last point. I think we'll probably let everybody go because now we're just starting, because I think we're going to, we could, I think you and I could talk about this all day long, but hopefully they're getting something, out of this a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I think that it's weird because I look at it and you probably very easily relate because you've been coaching for a while as well. But as coaches, and I'm so guilty of this, and I have been so guilty of it for the past 30 years. Everybody says that it's just the old, and you can interchange the different percentages, but wrestling is 90% mental, 95% mental, 98% mental, 99, whatever percentage you want to put in there. And so, but we'd rather spend 99% of our time in the wrestling room and only 1% of the time explaining the mental side of it, which, and I'm not saying go a whole 50-50, but I think that just, coaches, and I'm guilty of it too, every day, is that they feel the need that's the only place that it's going to get fixed is in the wrestling room, where sometimes, you got to sit kids down and explain it to them and show up to them on a blackboard or on a dry erase board, or on a screen, and say, what, this is that important of it. We're taking an hour out of our hour and a half practice to explain this stuff to you very, very thoroughly, because you have to learn this. You just have
There's
to.
something to that, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's nutrition. Because it's just like, if you can continue to have practice and practice and practice and practice over and over again, but if you're not teaching kid how to eat right, well, now you're just compounding practice over practice on a crappy diet.
Yeah, and they
bite the bullet. Today we're discussing nutrition, and then we're implementing this into your wrestling, in the way of life, and then we're going to move forward, and your practices are going to be that much better moving forward because you're nutritionally dialed in.
Yeah.
So I'm guilty as anybody.
Well, nobody's perfect, right? So I think it's just important to know that, especially when you look at the upper level people and what they've been doing for a long time now, there are still people that cut weight improperly. That's always going to happen, right? But
not the ones at the very highest level, though.
But that's what I was going to say. But not the ones at the highest level.
They can't. They take advantage of the ones that don't cut weight correctly and that are not managing their weight correctly. You can see when you have two elite level wrestlers, if one of them did not have their weight dialed in, there is a clear.
There's just an energy level, a strength level, difference, a cognitive level that's not there. When you dehydrate, we could go on about this, but when you dehydrate, it messes with your mind, So, anyways,
so I think we got. I think we got a subject for a future podcast.
I like it.
Weeks. Next week, like I said, we got a couple guests coming in. Then maybe the following one we'll have a special guest that comes in and hits on some of these different
those three things there.
I like it.
Anyways.
Sounds good. Well, Andi, always a pleasure. It's good stuff. Great guest today. Awesome chatting up with Hudson. And really looking, I like this during the day thing, but can't really pull it off very much because he homeschools, so he's got a more flexible schedule. A little difficult for the other ones, but that's all right though. We'll get it figured out in the future. But great stuff. Hopefully, people get a little out of this, with not only the two of us, but also just the questions we had for him.
And once again, guys, if you have any topics that you think are key that need to be brought up and discussed, like if there's somebody we can bring in and do something like that, let us know.
Yeah.
We aren't the master of all the ideas, so
Got that right. Especially this guy.
I got a few, but I'm not like a master. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Andi, thanks so much. We appreciate you. And everybody, thanks for listening in. And we will see you next week. Let's take care.
Bye.